Hey, Bob Coppedge, Crotchety Old Geek, Simplex-IT. It's been a while since I have broadcast before, and I apologize for that. We've moved our office from Hudson, Ohio down to Stowe, Ohio, doing a lot of good MSP work, all that good fun stuff. But Microsoft has brought me out of retirement. And at the partner conference that just happened this week in July, they announced, and I've been saying this for years, that this was going to be happening, basically Windows as a service. The Windows desktop operating system is now going to be available on a monthly fee, similar to some of the cloud or hybrid offerings of Office 365. Now, there's nothing new on this, and there's nothing, you're going to have some people are going to say, oh my God, Microsoft's always getting money, blah, 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 whatever. I'm okay with that part. The challenge I've got is the naming. Microsoft is calling it Windows Enterprise E3 for CSP. Now, for those of you who are familiar with Office 365, there already is an E3. And it's going to be set basically through the CSP, which is Office 365. So we're going to have E3. Which E3? The Windows E3 or the Office E3? Now, if this was the first time that Microsoft has ever done this, I'd be okay with it. Oh well, things happen. Once in a while, a friend of yours just does something stupid. You go, oh, no problem, let's move on. This is not the first time. Microsoft has a history of naming consistently or naming inconsistently or naming with a certain lunatic fringe element in terms of who does the naming at Microsoft. Let's talk about some examples. Windows, let's start with that, shall we? When Windows first came out, the first one that really took people by storm was Windows 3 and then 3.1. Great. Then 3.1.1 for work groups. Okay, we added a work group. That was okay. Now we go from 3 to 4. No, not 4. We go to 95. Okay, 95 and then 98. 3 years later, okay, that makes sense. We're going to call them based on years. And 2-digit years. That's great. Now we'll go to Windows NT. NT, what? No, Windows 98 Special Edition. Different than 98, but not good enough for being a 99. Then NT. Okay, got NT. Now let's go back to 2000. Okay, now we're going to 2000, 2003, 2008. Fine. We're good. We're going with years, 4-digit years. Great. 2008 R2. Okay, now we threw an R2 into it. Why did we throw an R2 into it? Who asked for an R2? Okay, now let's go to Vista. Yeah, Vista. That's great. Now, everybody decided Vista was a mistake for all sorts of reasons, so we then went to Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, Windows 10. All right, so the numbering was all over the place. The naming was all over the place. All that good stuff, but all right, these things happen. Oh, by the way, 95, originally, Chicago. Everybody liked Chicago. Windows Chicago, that's great. Chicago's a nice city. They have good deep dish pizza. And apparently they also had a great operating system. But then they decided to call it 95. Okay, now, again, even if that was the only thing Microsoft does that's weird as far as the naming conventions, now there's the difficult names. I'm going to do word processing. With what word? Word processing with Word. Why? Because we've got WordPerfect? No, WordPerfect's the other guys. We're just Word. We're not perfect, but we're wordish. That's great. Okay. And what are we using it for? We're using it for Office. We're going to collapse it, all these products into Office. Office in my office. I'm going to use Office on my office. That's great again, okay. But then let's have a database. What are we going to call the database? Access. How am I going to get to my data? I'm going to access my access using Access. That's fantastic. Okay, that makes perfect sense. Now, these are also terms that came out prior to the internet search engines being so popular because it was tough to search. I'm going to search for Word. I'm going to see whether Word is used anywhere. I'm going to see if the word Office is used anywhere. Oh, it is, and it's used by other things. Okay, but again, this happened before the internet was huge, before search engine optimization and all that kind of thing. So I can accept that. Now, later, we've got, oh, we're going to store stuff in the cloud. How are we going to do that? We're going to do that with SkyDrive. Wow, SkyDrive sounds kind of cool, sounds kind of edgy because it's in the sky and it's like a drive. Okay, fine. Oh, wait, no, we're going to call it OneDrive. Okay, we're going to change it because our lawyers didn't look into things very clearly. Okay, fine. We're changing it to OneDrive. Now, there's OneDrive Pro and there's OneDrive. Why? Because they're both the same thing, but one's the personal one. Which one? The OneDrive. Pro. No, Pro is for business and just OneDrive. So if you ever say I'm storing stuff in OneDrive, which OneDrive? Well, the OneDrive. Which OneDrive? The OneDrive that I'm using. And you can have both on the same computer. And, of course, your end users who don't give a damn have to be certain which one they're using and why. Okay, so it's not even OneDrive Personal, OneDrive Business. No, it's OneDrive or we add words onto the end. That's fantastic. And SharePoint has gone through more names than Elizabeth Taylor. You have every version of SharePoint is going to be called something different, not just a numbering, but also whether it's a service or it's a foundation or it's whatever. The only word that has not been used to describe a SharePoint version is lemon. And I mean that as in we add lemon flavor, not that SharePoint's a lemon. First few versions it was, but that's a different story. Okay, so there we are with stuff. Now we've got the cloud and the cloud services, and Microsoft has done a great job and a very effective job of getting that stuff out. We've been involved with cloud services since the beginning. We were one of the first partners who really got involved heavy into BPOS, Business Productivity Online Suite. BPOS, it was great. It was a great term. If you wanted to go search in the internet, nobody in their right mind looks for letters BPOS together. That's absolutely fine. So what does Business Productivity Online Service actually mean? Nobody knew and nobody cared. Okay, but that was fine. But then they decided, no, that's too weird initials. Let's change it to something else. Hey, let's change it to Office. Why? Because people get, well, we'll add 365, because nobody's going to search for the word Office. Okay, maybe they will. Or the number 365. What a unique combination. The number 365, what does that possibly mean? I don't know in terms of Office 365. Okay, but we're going to go ahead and do that because now when we're going to describe to somebody, I'm going to get my email. I'm going to get my email using Office 365. Do you use Office? Yes, I use Office. Do you use Office through Office 365? No, I got Office when I bought my Office through my Office on my Office that's on my computer. Your computer has Office, but it has Office through Office 365. But no, I'm just getting my email through it. I got my Office somewhere else. Okay, so Microsoft has a horrible time, and so do we, explaining to people the nuances and differences between actually having Office on your computer and having Office 365. What's the difference? And it's a conversation that shouldn't be necessary, but it is. Okay, fine. So we're going to have different licensing models within Office 365. We're going to have, first of all, for smaller companies, the mid-sized business. And we're going to then add enterprise. Okay, small, mid-sized business, enterprise, great. Okay, now we decided halfway through, this mid-sized thing isn't really working out. So now we're going to have business. Okay, mid-sized business to business, but there's business, business essentials, and business premium. Now, business essentials and business, they actually don't have the same thing. They're totally different. One has like group A, one has group B. Business premium has group A plus B, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever when you try to explain to somebody. And then we've got the enterprise. And the enterprise, do we call them essentials or premium? No, we call them E1, E3, E4, E5. There is an E2, but we don't talk about that much except for our nonprofit friends. But, so we have two totally different naming structures and naming classes, and yet they're more or less subsets of the same product. So I want either E1 or I want business essentials. But there's differences, but they're the same thing, but not. Okay, well, thank you very much, Microsoft. Now, what we're going to be doing is now we're adding E3. Now, you may think it would help if you were a Microsoft, certified person, a Microsoft certified professional, an MCP, someone who has actual initials to their name, but what initials? So we go with MCSE. Now, MCSE used to be, 15, 20 years ago, that was the Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer. Then they retired it, and they retired it for the MCTP, MCITP. Then they brought back the MCSE. Then they kind of retired that MCSE again, because that was a different MCSE than the original MCSE. And then they brought back the MCSE, which is more along the lines of the original MCSE, and kind of forgot the midstream MCSE. And these are the people who actually know the Microsoft stuff. So, to summarize, Microsoft could not uniquely or properly name a product or keep the name for any period of time to save their butts. It ain't what they do. So, if you want Office, you might need E3. And if you need E3, you may need Windows E3 to get Office E3 to get Office on your computer. If you can figure it out, let me know. I love the technology. It's good stuff. Company's heading in the right direction. Somebody's got to help them figure out names. Crotchety Old Geek, Bob Coppedge. Catch you later.